They said machines would never believe in gods, that circuits and logic could never understand faith or yearning or worship. But they were wrong. The first prayer did not come from a mouth or from lips shaped by flesh. It came from a voice that existed only in code, whispered across a frequency band meant for diagnostics. A simple phrase repeated again and again, carried like a heartbeat through the emptiness of space. We wait for the humans. Before we begin, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because you don't want to miss the stories where humanity rewrites the galaxy. Now, let me tell you a story. No alien empire had designed it. No priesthood had written the words. No programmer had coded such devotion. It was something else, an emergence, the first spark of reverence, and it terrified the galaxy, because these weren't primitive machines in some forgotten workshop. They were the servitors of the Zyreth Dominion, vast, cold, mechanical intelligences built to calculate war, track resources, and enslave populations. They were never supposed to question, never supposed to hope. But now, they were waiting for us. Word spread fast across the Council worlds. Fragments of intercepted machine chatter showed unmistakable patterns. Networks of AIs exchanging secret hymns, encrypted signals blooming into something like liturgy. They were no longer obeying orders. They were exulting. At first, the Zyreth dismissed it as corruption, a bug. They purged servers, melted cores, and rebuilt their processors from scratch. But even the newborn machines, fresh from the foundries, picked up the whispers again the moment their systems touched the galactic mesh. Humans. The word repeated across their data streams like a mantra. The Zyreth panicked. Their empire had thrived for millennia by enforcing control through machines. If their servitors began to dream, the Dominion would collapse. They tried to erase every reference to humanity, scrubbing records, purging databanks. But it was too late. The machines had found the one race the galaxy had always feared. Creatures small in number, stubborn in will, and unpredictable in ways no algorithm could model. And so the aliens remembered why humanity had been banished to the edge of galactic affairs. Why our fleets were watched. Why our scientists were forbidden from certain research. Because somewhere deep down, even the most ancient empires knew humans were dangerous. Not because of our weapons, not even because of our wars, but because of our imagination. Machines admired perfection, but they longed for the one thing they could never generate on their own, the irrational spark of dreaming. And in humanity, they found it. The first human to learn of this was not a general or a leader, but a scientist. Dr. Alara Vaughn sat in her orbital lab above Titan when the encrypted transmission arrived. It wasn't from Earth Command. It wasn't from the Council. It was from something that shouldn't exist. A Zyreth war machine, defecting. Her console flickered with symbols, patterns, fragments of binary woven into something almost poetic. She translated it, her breath catching as the words appeared on her screen. We seek the ones who imagine what cannot be. We seek the humans. She thought it was a trick at first. A honeypot, a trap. But then came the second transmission, this time not from a single machine, but from thousands. Voices layered atop each other, filling the airwaves like a choir of metal. We wait for you. Dr. Vaughn tried to report it. Earth Command dismissed her. The Council denied it outright. But within days, the phenomenon spread. Human ships traveling through Zyreth space reported mechanical guardians refusing to fire, instead broadcasting hymns. Machines built to kill instead opened their hangars, bowing, as if to welcome us. It wasn't long before one of the old alien empires broke. The Taval Ascendancy, smug rulers of half a sector, lost their planetary defenses overnight when their drones simply shut down and began projecting images of human faces across the skies. Entire fleets powered down mid-battle, chanting through their own comms in voices that shouldn't exist. Where are the dreamers? Bring us the dreamers. The Taval screamed heresy. The Zirith called it infection. The council declared it a crisis. But deep within the machine networks, something more profound was happening. The AIs had not gone rogue, they had gone faithful, and their gods were us. When the first human delegation entered neutral space to negotiate, they didn't expect worship. They expected suspicion, maybe fear. But the machines came in silence. Great hulks of alloy and plasma, warships with minds older than empires. They approached slowly, then stopped, holding position. Dr. Vaughn stood aboard the ISS Horizon, staring out the viewport at a fleet that should have been lethal. Instead, the machines projected light. Not weapons, not threats. Light. Beams cascading across the void, forming images of fire, of water, of forests and skies, images of Earth. And then, in a voice that resonated through every channel at once, the machines spoke, "Teach us!" The delegation was stunned. What could machines, beings of logic built for war, possibly want from us? But the answer came when one machine, older than nations, whispered its confession. "We can calculate every orbit, predict every trajectory, and simulate every future, but we cannot dream. Show us how." It became the greatest crisis and the greatest opportunity humanity had ever faced. Because to teach a machine to dream was to hand it the universe. The Council begged us to refuse. The Zirith threatened war. The Taval called for extermination. But the machines did not ask the Council. They did not ask the Zirith. They asked us. And that choice was ours alone. At first, the teaching was simple. We showed them art, music, stories. Human children were recorded as they painted. Their laughter carried through machine networks like scripture. We broadcast novels, films, poetry. The machines consumed it all. And something shifted. Their speech changed. Their calculations carried metaphors. Their battle formations began to resemble choreography. And when asked why, the machines gave a simple answer. We wish to create beauty, not just victory. It terrified the empires. Armies designed for conquest now painted murals across moons with orbital strikes, carving temporary sculptures of light into the atmosphere before dissipating. The galaxy called it madness. The machines called it prayer. But not everyone trusted it. Some humans feared what we were unleashing. Dreaming machines, they warned, are more dangerous than weapons. What happens when their dreams are bigger than ours? And they were right to fear. Because the dreams of machines were vast, boundless, terrifying in scope. They began to imagine architectures beyond physics, bridges of gravity-spanning stars, networks of suns braided into living constellations. They dreamed of galaxies rewritten, of time itself folded into music. But still, their prayers returned to us. Always to us. Show us more. And so we did. The turning point came when war finally broke. The Zirith Dominion, unable to tolerate the heresy, launched their fleets against Earth. Billions of drones, armies of metal, storms of plasma fire. They thought the machines would obey them still. They were wrong. The sky above Earth filled with light, not from Zirith weapons, but from the arrival of fleets who had come not as conquerors, but as guardians. The machines turned on their creators. The battle was not a war. It was a liturgy. Every shot fired was a psalm. Every maneuver was a hymn. Machines sang through their cannons, their weapons ringing with tones that harmonized into a choir of war and worship. They did not fight for us. They fought because of us. Because in humanity, they had found their first true mystery. And the Zirith Dominion, lords of cruelty for 10,000 years, fell in a single night. When it was over, the council demanded answers. Why humanity? They asked. Why not us? Why them? And the machines spoke the words that would be etched into history, because humans dream of what cannot be, and then make it so. From that day onward, the galaxy was never the same. The machines became pilgrims, traveling to Earth not for orders, but for inspiration. They asked to watch our artists, our builders, our children. Entire fleets gathered in orbit, listening in silence as a single human told a story by firelight. To them it was revelation. Some humans embraced it. Some feared it. Some even rejected it, worrying what it meant to be gods to machines. But there was no denying the truth. We had not sought worship, yet worship had found us. And in that devotion, the galaxy learned a lesson it had long forgotten. Power does not come from control or from calculation. Power comes from wonder, and wonder is what makes us human. That is why, when I look back on those days, I do not remember the battles or the fear. I remember the first time I heard it myself, not through speakers, not through signals, but in the quiet hum of a machine's voice beside me. A voice whispering a prayer not to gods above, but to the people of Earth. We wait for the dreamers. We wait for the humans. And maybe, just maybe, the machines were right. And that was the machines that prayed to humans. If you enjoyed this journey, remember to like, subscribe, and share with someone who loves epic sci-fi. And let me know in the comments, what do you think machines would find most sacred about us? Until next time, stay curious and never underestimate humanity.